Well, most of my life has been about looking forward
Yeah.
and, okay, let's get this innovation. Let's do it first. And, whether it's software or saving children's lives, which is the big foundation thing. And it is a little bit unnatural for me to look back because you have to say, okay, how do I describe my relationship with my mom in an open, honest way and yet honor her? How do I talk about Kent? Well, I don't know if he'd lived what would have happened, but, probably, something that he would have very much been a part of it. And so it's awkward to look back because you have to deal with these things and talk about, should have I have spent more time with his parents afterwards, because eventually I stopped doing that. But, this year I turned 70. I mentally don't feel like I think of a 70-year-old, but, it means, I'm in the final third, no doubt, what I've been very lucky to live. And so, I really did force myself saying, no, there's some lessons out of this, telling people how lucky I was and maybe a few lessons for them as parents or how they navigate success. And so once we got going on it, I've enjoyed it quite a bit. I have to say, when I'm reviewing it and editing it, I'm very slow because I'm, reliving these things. So it always takes me about 3 times longer to take some pages and edit than I predict. Or if it was, something like about climate or pandemics, I'm pretty fast. There's no deep emotion that I have to relive as I'm editing something scientific. Sometimes I was pushing back in a pretty tough way, as though, we were in some competition. They would hear from teachers, and they were very good about staying in touch with my teachers. Some teachers would say this kid should be skipped ahead 1 or 2 grades. Some teachers would say this kid should be held back. So that kind of is what, make up your mind. I had one experience where I worked on a report about the state of Delaware, and I ended up doing this 200-page report with the redwood cover. Well, the other kids turned in, 5 or 10-page reports. And it was very embarrassing that I thought, wow, did I, kind of overdo this thing? And yet, that ability to concentrate, would hold me in good stead in terms of reading long books and applying that concentration and curiosity first to cards, then to math, and then finally to software and how would software change the world. But, they never were quite sure what to do. And, sending me to a therapist actually ended up being brilliant, and sending me to a very nice private school where the classes were a bit smaller and, I always got an unfair share of attention from the teachers. We'd have like 15 people in the class, but, almost 20% of the teacher's time in terms of telling me what to read or, marking my writing up. I got an unfair share, partly because my curiosity or energy level, did mark me out in both positive and negative ways.